Hello, hello. Hi, Lintana. Hi, Lissa. Welcome in, guys. Fixing to get raided here in a few minutes. So we're doing the demo and create raid train. I totally meant to put some show notes up, but I didn't put any show notes up. So I have some fabrics pre-cut. We're just going to do the key fobs because it's only a 45-minute slot. I didn't want to get caught in the middle of having a longer demo and then not be able to finish it. So I was like, I'll just do key fobs again. I think next week I do have another not next week, this week, Sunday. I'm doing a postcard tutorial Sunday night. Welcome in everybody. Hi Patricia. Hi Amy. Hi Mama. Mama Maniac is my mom. Hi Barbara. Hello everybody else. So this is the demo and create raid train. We're going to be raiding into somebody else after. I totally forgot thought about the YouTube channel. Yes, I am multicasting there, so this video will be able to be watched back on my Tube of Y channel later on at your leisure. I literally I had my show last night, and then I finished packing up all my orders about 45 minutes ago. I was like, okay, I got 45 minutes to get ready for the raid train, which I didn't realize when I signed up for it was the week of spring break. So Wally is in the kitchen playing a game right now. I'm like, we have 3 15 minutes because we go by like 15-minute increments with Wally. So he knows what's going on. And it's easier for him to keep track of time. So it's just a short tutorial. I know he's being such a good boy for mom. So I have not. Let's plug my phone in first off so we don't die. I meant to put the measurements in the show notes, but I forgot to do that, and everything's been a bit of chaos. So today, obviously, we're going to be working with 1.25" hardware. This one's 1.5", but most of the hardware I have is 1.25". So whenever you're making a key fob, I know you guys have heard me say this a billion times. These are all different widths. There's like 1.25". This is 1.5". This is 1 inch. They make all different kinds. So you can do whatever you want. Key fobs are whatever you want them to be. So we're going to be working with 1.25" hardware. And so whenever you're making a key fob, the batting is going to be double the width of the hardware. So this is 1.25". So my batting is 2.5 inches. I have some different finishes too. So the length of the batting is going to be whatever you want the length of the strap to be. I typically do 12 inches because that fits most hands. Like this is one that's already done. This was a 12-inch strap for the wristlet portion, and I have like average size hands. My hand goes in pretty easily. It's pretty roomy. There's a lot of room left in there. So if you guys want to make these for someone with larger hands, you're welcome to make this your batting and your fabric as long as you want it to be. I would suggest probably like 13 or 14 inches for larger hands. But the width of the fabric and the width of the batting is always going to be the same. If you do the little formula where the batting will be double the width of the hardware, and then the fabric will be double the width of the hardware plus 1 inch. And that is so you have enough fabric to fold in so you're hiding all of your raw seams inside. Hi, Fabric King. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. So this is one that's already made. Again, I used a 12-inch length for my strap, so it's ample space for most hands, but you can make them shorter, you can make them longer. I had some strap ends from making some bags where I made like the straps for the bags, and I had some little short pieces that were like 9 inches left over, and I made little short fobs with those. So they looked like this. They were just short little tiny ones. Not everybody puts their hands in them. They just want something to grab onto. So that's an option. Don't waste anything. The whole point of making these for me was to use up scraps that I had. So again, if you're just coming in, we're doing key fobs. Our hardware today is 1.25 inches wide. Our straps are going to be 12 inches long because that's an average. I don't know. It makes for like an average size wristlet strap on your key fob. So the hardware is 1.25 inches. So our batting is going to be double the width of the hardware. So this is 1.25 inches. So our batting is 2.5 inches wide. And then our fabric is going to be 2.5 inches wide plus an inch. So it's going to be double the width of the hardware plus 1 inch. So you have enough to fold over when you put your fabric on your batting. You have more than enough so you can make sure you stitch through all those layers. If your pieces are a little bit longer and you don't want to trim those off, they'll just get closer to the center. Like it could fold in like this and it doesn't matter. You just want to make sure you have enough fabric where it's easy enough for you to fold those pieces in on the side because we're going to press those. And then we want to make sure we're stitching through all the layers on that. So that's another reason to make sure you give yourself enough room. If the fabric was only, let's see, 2.5, if it was only 3 inches, you could still make do with 1/4 inch, but you're not going to have very much. It's just going to be harder for you to get that 1/4 inch to fold over and then make sure you stitch through all those layers. So that's why I always say give yourself an extra inch because that'll give you a 1/2 inch on either side to fold in. So that's what we're working with today. So usually you lay the batting down the center of your fabric. If there's like a special thing on the fabric, like a special part of the design that you really want to feature, you can shift your fabric over a little bit to try and get that to be on like 1/2 of the batting. That's totally up to you. All about the print placement for some of these designs. So right now we're just going to fold these edges in. And usually if you give yourself enough room, you give yourself that 1/2 inch, usually the batting will kind of act like a Velcro for you and it will help hold that fabric in place like this. It wants to stick. That's why we use these for design walls. I use quilt batting for my design wall. So I'm going to give this a quick press. You're welcome. You are welcome. I'm looking at my computer right now. I know I'm multicasting onto YouTube as well, but I don't even have that open on my computer today because it was really just about the whatnot. And then it can be watched back through later on. So then we're going to fold this whole thing in half, and we're going to try and match up those folded edges where we folded it over the raw edges of the batting. So we're going to fold that in half again, and we're going to give that a quick press. And we're just going to try and line those up. If you want to use pins on this to hold everything in place for you, you're welcome to do that. If you have clips, like I have these little sewing clips, you're welcome to use those too. It does help you when you bring your work over to the sewing machine. There we go. So this is what our strap is going to look like, and we're going to bring it over to the sewing machine. So I'm going to bring you over to the sewing machine with me. I'm sorry if you guys get motion sick. Let's see. I will not be able to see the chat very well while I'm sewing because I've got my phone off to the side so I can give myself a little bit more room. It's kind of awkward. So usually what I do when I do this, like the ends, this is all going to get enclosed in the hardware, but I like to start in the center when I start stitching around the perimeter of this. And that's because when I go to trim my threads up after, you're still going to have those little thread tails hanging out. And when you put the hardware on, it's going to encase all that. So you won't have any loose threads hanging out and looking sloppy. So we are just going to start in the center. What's the matter, babe? Stupid to me. All right, that's not a very nice iPad, is it? Nope. You want to come say hi? I want to break my glass face. Well, that's not very nice at all. So you're going to stitch to the end, and you want to get it as close to the outside as you can. Hold on, guys. Wally wants to say hello. Hello. There's your handsome face. Everyone say hi, Wally. Everyone's saying hello. Lintana says hi. Yeah, he's feisty. Grandma says hi. Everybody says hi, Wally. Can you go can you just watch a video or something for a little bit? Mommy won't be on for very long, babe, okay? All right. So we went to as close to the outside edge as we can. And usually it's about 1/8 of an inch. You can stitch in a little bit farther because we gave ourselves that extra 1/2 inch on either side. So we will be stitching through all these layers. If you're not comfortable stitching right along the edge, you can go in 1/4 of an inch or like a little bit less. Just try and keep your line straight so it looks nice. But it's 100% what you want it to be. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world if you go in 1/4 of an inch, as long as you're stitching through all of the layers of fabric and batting. That is the key thing right there. So we're just going to stitch around the entire perimeter. And I'm just using like it's Aurifil thread, but the color is Dove. It's a very pale gray, but it tends to take on a lot of the colors of everything that's around it. So it blends in fairly good with just about everything. Okay, so we're right towards the end. We're going to turn our work. And we're going to go again as close to the outside edge as we can. And we're going to turn it again. And I'm not putting any pressure on this. I'm just resting my fingers on the outside edge and along the top. Along the top, you can feel if there's any like ripples in the batting, you can kind of smooth that out before you sew over it. And then putting your fingers on the outside edges just kind of helps keep everything nice and straight while you're sewing. But I'm not putting any pressure on this or anything. Let your machine do the work for sure. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to go to the center. Now you could cut your threads here, like you stitch right around the perimeter and you've got those sides down, and that's nice. Um, the color of the thread is called Dove, and the number is, you can't see it because this is an old spool. 2600 is the color number. 2600. But it's called Dove. Yes. It's pretty much my go-to for when I don't want to change thread 5,000 times. Nurse Bex, that's awesome. Okay, so when you're sewing the strap for the fob, you can really just sew around the perimeter as long as you're holding everything down. And that can be the end of it. You can do something decorative down the center. You can stitch ribbon down the center if you want to stitch a ribbon there. You can embroider a name on it if you'd like to do that. Whatever you want to do. I like to go back down the center and then up in between the lines on each side. So I'll have 5 total rows of stitching. And that's just because I like how quilty it feels. So that's totally up to you. That part can be done. Like I said, it's whatever you want it to be. So I'm just kind of making sure this is fairly centered. And I'm going to stitch all the way down. And I'm a cheater, so I'm using my ruler to just make sure my lines are nice and straight. Because then I can cruise. And then I'm going to turn my work again. And I'm going to go down in between. So I went down the center, and now I'm going to come back down this in between these 2 lines and then up between those 2 lines. I'm checking the chat in between, you guys. I can't see the chat very well with my phone off to the side. So I will check in between. So now I'm going to turn my work and come back so I can stitch down these. All right. And that's that. So we have a nice, there you go. You can see that pretty well. Nice straight stitching. Your stitching's wonky. It doesn't matter. Get in all the practice you need. Again, I do like to use the ruler when I come back down through to do the extra stitching in the center. Your stitching can still go like wayward, like kind of like filter off to one side sometimes, but having the ruler next to it will at least make sure your stitching is straight. It might go this way instead of being centered, it might kind of go off to the side, but at least the stitching is going to be nice and straight looking. It's not going to be zigzaggy. So with the strap done, this is the part where you would go through and you would decide, um, like, I like this side of the strap better, or I like this side of the strap better. I really like this side, so I'm going to make this the outside. Yes. Oh, well, I think the battery was dead, babe, or it was getting there. What do you guys think? Do you like this, or do you like this better? I like this side better, but I think I like that that flower is featured, so I'm going to put that on the outside. And I'm going to just line up my edges here. That's going to get trimmed off. And then, thank you. And then I'm just going to, again, start in the center. And I'm going to back stitch all the way over the outside edge. And then I will stitch all the way across and just over this edge. And then I will back stitch into the center again. And again, the reason I always start and end in the center is so that when I put the hardware on, all those little cut pieces, those little cut threads are going to be right underneath the hardware. You won't see any of those little loose threads sticking out through the sides. This is a thread from the fabric itself, not from the cutting or anything. So I'm going to bring you back over. So this is what our strap looks like. Now we just have to add the hardware to it. They're super easy. Super, super easy. And I'll put you back up here. And now I can see the chat again because I've got my computer in front of me. So ask away if you have questions. I don't know. I kind of think I'm kind of digging the rose gold hardware. What do you guys think? It's like a coppery looking. Yes. And this looks like I trimmed it slightly crooked. So I'm going to trim this just the tiniest bit. All right. So I use, these are glass breaking pliers. I don't have any more in my bin right now. I'll order a couple more pair and I'll have those in there, but I don't have any right now. You can order these on the Zon. I think they're like $9 or $10. I like this brand because I like the grips on them. There are other brands in there, but they just have like the skinny little metal handle that's like just covered with like this rubbery coating. These are like more ergonomic. Even the smaller ones, they have a 6-inch pair. They're lighter weight, so if you have like problems with your wrist or something, but they do have the ergonomic grips on them, and I really really like them. Another benefit to this brand is that they are straight across. And a lot of the glass breaking pliers are actually concave on one side and convex on the other side. So they nest in, but they're arched. Affiliate link for the hardware. We could get these. If you shoot me a message, I can send you a screenshot. Whatnot won't let me send links. But I will tell you I got them on the Zon. And I have ordered from a lot of different places, a lot of different vendors. But the ones that I get from them are fairly sturdy. I've gotten a lot of these where you can literally take these and squeeze them super easy with your hand. They're like really thin, cheesy metal. They're not very high quality. So if I send you a link for some, it's going to be a very high quality. The price is very reasonable as well, but it is kind of like a bulk thing where you're ordering like 50 or 60 at a time. This one, and I've got like some, those are gunmetal, and I've got some rose gold. Those ones I actually got from a D-Stash group, so I don't know where they got them. But if you shoot me a message and just write hardware, or write fob hardware or something, then I will send you a screenshot, and then you can look it up based on like the shop name. I believe these are actually, if you look on the Zon and you type in Speedwalks, that's actually the shop name as well. So this is like a custom thing for them, and they sell hardware as well, and it's very good quality. You need pliers to to squeeze them. You can't just do it with your fingers and hope everything's going to work out fine. If you don't have glass breaking pliers, you can use like a pair of pliers from the toolbox that you've got at home or something, or you can use like a rubber hammer and just like tap it down. Um, if you have like a little bench vise, like if you're a bag maker, you probably have one of those little mini bench vices where you can just like turn the handle and like crank it closed. You're welcome to use that too. If you use anything like that, though, make sure if it has like teeth or anything, or even if it's just raw metal, put some like batting or something in there so that the metal doesn't dig up the hardware because it will beat it up. So we're gonna take our hardware and we're gonna put it in here so it's fairly level. You don't want it like super high up one side and really low on the other side because it's gonna squish. So the top it'll be like an overbite or an underbite. But if you put it in nice and straight, you want to make sure you're trying to grip, like you see the little ridge, how it's not completely flat. There's like a little ridge going right here on each side. You want to try and make sure that the pressure is on that right there, because if you set it too far back, you're going to end up with like a big dent going all the way across your hardware. This just makes sure you have a nice, clean, finished look on your hardware. And there are some little picky teeth in here. So depending on how thick your batting is, like I like to use up scraps from like making bags or like trimmings from quilts. I like to use those scraps and use those for my batting on my hardware. So sometimes they're thicker than others. So always slide your stuff in from the side. Because if you just go like this, the fabric or the batting might catch on the teeth and just like fold backwards, and then it's not going to get gripped properly. So I slide it in from the side and I feel it with my fingers on the sides to make sure it's centered. And then I squeeze it down about halfway. And I only go halfway because now I can make sure, like when I went to squeeze it, sometimes it goes off like the side or whatever, or it like sticks out further on one side. This gives you like a little bit of time to readjust and then clamp it down the rest of the way. See how nice and straight that is? And I'm going to crimp that down a little bit more because you want to make sure that those little claw teeth inside are biting into the fabric so it's like has some resistance against it. But we have a nice clean finish. Super easy. This is rose gold, so it kind of has like a coppery color to it. Move down. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this tool is very handy. I like how wide it is. Do you know if the tool is called a glass snipper? Anytime I've looked it up, it just says glass breaking pliers. But if you go on the Zon, look up this brand, Speedwalks, and it should bring you directly to these. They have an 8-inch, which is what these ones are. These ones are fairly heavy, but they do have a 6-inch pair that are cheaper and they're much, much lighter. So if you have like wrist problems or whatever, you definitely want the 6-inch pair. They're just a little bit smaller. They're a lot lighter, but they still have the nice ergonomic grips on them. They're flat. They come with the little rubberized tips here. Is that a K or an H? What do you mean? Oh, that's a K. Speedwalk. Well, Speedwalks. It's an X. Speedwox. Speedwalks. Yep, $9.39. Is that what they are now? The price varies a little bit, and usually I get them. Yep, they have 8-inch as well. These ones are the 8-inch, but they're heavier. So I know a lot of people have like problems with their wrists and stuff from like whatever they've done all their lives. But they do have the 6-inch pair, and it's like this. It's just a smaller version of these. They're much lighter, but they're just as strong, and they're cheaper for the 6-inch ones. Usually, I'll grab a couple of the 6-inch pair and like put them in my bin so that people can just like grab them if they're like getting a couple of kits from me, or if they're getting hardware from me or whatever. I don't make anything on them. It'll be like $12 or $13. It pretty much covers the fees. and I might make like 50 cents on them. I'm not making anything on them. It's just more of a convenience for you guys because some people just refuse to order from the Zon anyways. So if they order from me, they didn't have to. I don't have any in my bin today though, so you will have to order those yourself. Or you can wait until next week and I'll have some more in. I did order another couple pair. I just don't have them yet. So that being said, we just made this key fob. I just hit my tripod. We're going to use this as a giveaway. I have to pay attention to the time. All right. So this is a giveaway. Obviously, you didn't have to buy anything because I haven't tried to sell you anything. So you will get this key fob right here. This is 1¼ inch. Wallace, you're being very dramatic. What do we need, bud? Well, that's not very nice. I think I want to work with this one. This is like a vintagey looking floral. I think we've got time to do one more. What, babe? And I'm going to give this a quick press. And again, I think I'll use the oil slick hardware on this one. So my hardware is, we're going to start over from scratch, you guys. So we have 1¼ hardware. So our batting is going to be double the width of the hardware. So this is 2½ inches of batting. And then your fabric is going to be double the width of the hardware plus 1 inch. And that's because it gives you enough fabric to fold over comfortably without having to struggle too much. And all we're going to do is line our fabric up down the center. If you have like a special print where you want to really feature a certain part of the print, you can shift your batting over this way or that way just to try and make sure you're catching like within a certain spot, like you're catching a certain part of the print that you really like. That's totally up to you. Just make sure you're giving yourself enough fabric to fold over so that when you stitch around the perimeter, you're stitching through all the layers of the fabric and all the layers of the batting. I'm choosing to go with a 12-inch strip because that makes a standard key fob. You can make these shorter or longer. That's 100% up to you. I'd recommend about 14 inches long if you're doing key fobs for someone that you know have larger hands. It just gives them a little bit more room for their hands to go in. And so now, nope, I picked that up at the Walmart. I do have some 1.5 inch. I have some silver finish 1.5 inch hardware if you need some of that, Reed. Oh, I forgot about that. I gotta find it, but I do got some. The stuff you find. The stuff you find. Oh, where is it? I do have 1.5 inch. Okay. I could do a pack of 10. I think I'd have to go $1 more on these ones because these are way more expensive. If you do get 1.5 inch and you're looking around, make sure you get the 1.5 inch that has the 3 notches on the back side. Don't get the ones with 2 because then you're only securing the outsides of the strap and most of the tension is usually on the inside. These are just more secure. These ones are rugged. Like I'm pretty strong and it's really hard to squish these. You definitely need the fob pliers. Don't get if you get the ones that only have the 2 grips in the back for the 1.5 inch, 1¼ inch, it's fine. But on the 1.5 inch, like look at the difference in the spacing. So if you only had one here and one out here, that's a huge gap in the center. So make sure you look for ones with the 3 notches on the 1.5 inch. So if you want some of these, Reed, I can put some of these in my bin after, but it'll be like $1 more for the for 10 of these. And I think I can do like 20. I can do 2 sets of 10 on these. And these take a lot longer for me to get into. I have to order those like a month ahead of time in order to get them. All right, so I'm going to press the sides down on this. I want to try and get one more did my giveaway run. I've got 35 seconds on my giveaway, you guys. So I'm just folding the fabric in on the outside edges, and I'm going to give it a quick press. Reed, did you end up, oh, you weren't in the raid. You weren't in. I was watching Kinetic Lace before. I was going to ask you if you finished making your bag, but never mind. It was Kinetic that I was watching. And I'm going to fold this in half again, but I'm trying to line up these, the edges where I folded the fabric over the batting. Try and line those up nice and straight on the outside edge. And again, you can use pins, you can use clips to hold everything together. I find that once I press it, with it only being a foot long, it stays pretty good for me. I don't need to. I'm just checking. Who won this? Lintana? All right, Lintana. This is coming to you. I'm just going to put a number on that. These will go out today as well. These will go out today. Where's my box? Right there. I finished my shipping from my show last night about 45 minutes before I had to go live for this. So I had time to make sure my machine was cleaned up and get my tripod set up. You're welcome. So I'm going to bring this back over to my machine. And again, I'm going to start my stitching. You want to make sure you start in the middle, because then when you clip your threads, all of those little thread ends are going to be hidden away in the hardware. And just make sure that when you stitch, the first side you're going to be stitching is this open side, just to make sure nothing shifts on you. So again, we're going to start at the center, and we're going to stitch to as close to the outside edge as we can. If you are not that comfortable stitching that close to the edge, you're welcome to stitch in 1/4 of an inch. You just want to make sure that you are going through all the layers of fabric and batting. That is what matters. All right. And I'm going to zip through this one to make sure we get it done. I do have some key fobs that are already made up. I also have like 6 or 7 kits. I didn't make up a bunch because this is a short show. So we can run those after, once I finish this one. Now again, we're down across the edge, and we're going to stitch as close to the outside edge as we can. I was a little bit off there, so I went kind of at an angle to get myself over where I needed. But again, it's all going to be hidden in the hardware. You won't see it. So then I'm going to just rest my fingers on the top and on the sides. I'm not putting any pressure on this. I'm really just feeling for like ripples in the batting underneath that I can like smooth out if I feel a wrinkle. And then I'm going to stitch to the center. And again, if you guys are just coming in, at this point, once you get to the center, you could cut your thread and be done, as long as you've sewn around the entire perimeter. I like to run down the center as well, and then come back up in between those 2 lines, and then go back down in between these lines. So I'll have 5 total rows, because I like the quilted look that it has, and I like the way it feels in my hands. So I'm going to turn my work. I need to go 1 more stitch to get centered a little more. That's pretty close right there. So I'm just going to check it. And just a little bit, I'm a little bit off. So I'm going to, I know it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just me. And then I like to use a ruler, and I just kind of brace my fingers on the side of it. And then I rest my hands on top. And that will help to keep your stitching straight. You might still go off to the side, but at least your stitching won't be like, it won't look like a zigzag stitch, because you're shifting back and forth trying to keep it all straight. See what I mean? It's still nice and straight. It's still slightly off, but it's nice straight stitching. And that's what matters to me. So then we're going to turn our work, and we're just going to go back down this side, and then we'll come back up this side. And again, you can do like, you can just stitch around the perimeter. You could do some decorative stitching down the center. You could stitch a piece of ribbon down the center. You can embroider a name. You can do as much or as little with these as you want. It doesn't matter. It's 100% whatever you want it to be. And that's why they're so easy, because they're so versatile. You can do so many different things with them. Thank you. But the biggest thing is to let the machine do the work. Don't try and like force it in there. Don't try and like manhandle the fabric to get it to go the direction you think it should go, because that's when you end up having like choppy looking stitching. And this is, well, I guess we can decide on this one. This one has more of the pink, larger flowers, and this one has more of the green and teal. And I think I like the green and teal more, so we're going to make that the outside of our strap. So we're just going to fold it in half and butt those sides up. But do you see what I mean with the threads? Those are all going to be clipped, and they're going to be hidden inside the hardware when we put that on. So we are just going to take this back over, and we're going to start in the center. And we are going to back stitch over the outside edge. And then we're going to stitch all the way across. And again, we're going to come to the outside edge. So we go over it, so it kind of locks everything in. And then we're going to back stitch to the center, and we'll cut our thread there. So now, like my batting was a little bit longer, I'm going to trim it down just a little bit. And that's crooked because I'm crazy. That is good enough. But see, all those little, there's still a couple of little threads there, but you won't see it because that's all going to be enclosed. There's no short little threads that are going to stick out on the outside of my hardware now. And so now I'm going to bring you back over here. Just rest you up here. Yeah, this is a fun one. And I think I like the rainbow hardware for this one, you guys. Oil slick. I don't know. It depends on how the light shines on it. So again, I'm going to use these glass breaking pliers. And again, make sure you get the ones that are straight. Don't get the curved ones, because then you'll end up with a big divot in the center of your hardware. So I'm going to put these in, and I'm going to try and have it on the ridges. Do you see where there's like a ridge that goes down the side towards the outside of these? And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to slide this in from the side, because there's a couple of teeth in here. And depending on the batting you use, or if you have ribbon, these can be thicker or thinner. And a lot of times when you go to push it in, the fabric or the batting or something will catch on these teeth and just fold backwards, so it won't be gripped. So I always slide it in from the side, and I just rest my fingers on the outside edges to make sure it's centered. And I squeeze it down about halfway. And that is because sometimes it will be like really crooked, kind of like that, or it's sticking out one side, and only going halfway allows you to adjust it. That looks nice and straight. It's not sticking out either side. And so that we're going to make sure we're on those ridges again, and make sure it's straight in the pliers. And we're going to squeeze that down the rest of the way. And I always check the outside edges. And that's it. Super easy, super quick. You can make these as bougie or as plain as you want. As long as the outside edges are stitched, you're good. Super easy, right? Sweet. Isn't it pretty? I got this, I had like some scraps left over. I sold a few pieces of this last night that I had, but these were just scrappy bits that I had left over. And I was like, oh, I'm going to cut those up. And this is going to be my second giveaway. And this is running. No, I'm going to use this as a giveaway. Enter the giveaway. I am going to enter some of that 1.5" hardware. I do have some other key fobs that are made up. I will run these for $3 if anyone wants to buy a key fob that I already have made. And then I have like 8 kits. I have 8 kits made up. But I'm going to do a quick add. I need to win. I'm going to add this into the bin. HARD. All right, so I've got a 10-pack for 6. So this will be a 10-pack for 7. Quality listing. Let me take a picture of this real quick, and I'll get this out of your face. There we go. And this will be this one. And this is 1.5 inch fob hardware. And that will be a 10 pack. Silver finish. And they are new. I will put in 2. I know I have at least 2. I don't want to I don't want to count them all out and then accidentally oversell it. So I'm going to only add 2 of those in there. And these should be 4 to 7 because these are heavy. And I did put in 2, yeah? Ah. All right, I put in 2. Okay, read the 1.5 inch. I pinned it for you. There's 2 of the 10 packs. They're in there. And I pinned it so you don't have to search for it. Is anybody interested in any kits? Like I said, I think I only have 6. I get the hardware from the Zon, but you really have to look for, like, I bought a lot that was really cheesy. And they were more expensive than some of the ones that I found that are quality. So if you need the hardware, send me a message and then I will send you screenshot. The ones that I just put in the bin are 1.5 inch. So those are larger. I already have some 1.25 inch, which is what I use. These are 1.25 inch. I do have 10 packs of the 1.25 inch silver in for $6 for a 10 pack. Or I have the 1.25 inch 2-pack, and I think that's like $6 or $7 too. I think it was in for 6, but after fees and everything, I pay $2 a piece for these. $2 a piece. So I apologize that they cost so much, but they're really expensive. By the time the fees came out, I think I make like 25 cents on a pack of those. I don't make anything from them really. On the oil slick ones. So the silver ones I think is $6 for a pack of 10 of the 1.25 inch. Yeah, no worry. Okay, so this is running. There is 1 minute and 20 seconds left on these. If you guys want me to run any of these little key fobs, it can be like a winter picks kind of thing. If you would like to purchase one of these are, I think this is like similar kind of colors. It doesn't have the green in it, but it looks like it could go well together. Very retro looking print there. It's not a vintage. It just has that appeal. That's a Henry Glass print right there. I only had 2 of the 10 packs of the 1.5 inch. Yeah, I can run some kits. I'm gonna run this. They're gone. I think Reed probably grabbed them. Reed's the one who asked me to put them in there, so I don't know. I'll order more and I'll get some more in, but it just takes a while for those to come in. Premium fobs. These are gonna start at $3 and it'll be winter picks. We're just gonna do 5 seconds. And it'll be these ones. This one's for the giveaway, so don't use this one. This is not an option. The cream and roses, yeah, these are pretty. These ones are 1 inch and they have antique brass hardware. And then this one's like a cute art gallery fabric and it has like this cute vintage strawberry ribbon. Who's got this? C&G Signs. That's fitting because you're the first person who shared my show. C&G, this is coming to you. Unless you would like to trade for one of the other ones back here. C&G, where are you at? This is giveaway number 2. You're welcome. All right. Kathy, do you have a preference on which one you want? See how I did like different stitching down the center of these? It's like a pretty like sagey, just because the print placement is slightly different on these. I don't know if you have a preference if you want the top or the bottom one. One on top. Okay. So this will be number 1. And I've got 3 minutes left, you guys. I'm going to run this one more time, and then I'm going to run a couple of kits real quick. Really quick. And the kits come with the hardware, the batting, and the fabric that you need to make four of your own. Kathy, do you want to see any of these other ones? There's a few of that one. This one has lupins. What batting should you buy? If you have leftover batting from like making quilts or bags or any of that stuff, use up the scraps. I usually just buy the stuff on a roll when I'm making kits. The other cream one? You got it. All right. I am going to run a couple of kits real quick, because then we have to, I'm just going to show you these real quick. These are your options. Some of these will have ribbons, some of them will not. This is De Beers. This one has some Tula Pink Original Nightshade. There's this one, and then there is this one. Let's see. We'll pin that. And we've got a couple of kits running. We're only going to do 5 seconds, and we're going to turn on sudden death. It froze. You usually buy. Which ones do I usually buy? I like to buy Warm and Cozy. But I can send you a screenshot of the stuff that I get on the roll to make up my kits. I love fall. Which one do you want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. The pink on the bottom. This one? Yes. All right. I'm going to run this again. It's 5 seconds sudden death, guys. Super quick. Because we got to go raid somebody. Warm and Cozy is the one that I use for like what I personally buy, and then I use up at the scraps. She Shine. Thank you so much. Which kit would you like? I can show you them, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. You're welcome. This has been fun for sure. I just got to make sure I'm off in time because I want to go raid into the next person. She Shine, which kit would you like? Number 6, you said? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one? Yes. All right. I think I've got time to run this 2 more times. 5 seconds, sudden death. It's not going to reset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like that might be easier to see. Lisa Bell, you want the bears? All right, we're gonna run again, guys. Man. She Shine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's upside down. Moon. This one? This one? That's got the Tula Pink Original Nightshade right there. Yes. All right, we're running again, guys. Thank you, guys. I see your bin purchases. Wow, Granny. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 2. All right, we're running again. This is it. Then we're gonna go raid. They're super fun, you guys. This is all going to be on YouTube after as well. You'll be able to watch this back. Kathy, thank you so much. Do you want 1, 2, or 3? 2. All right, we're running again. 5 seconds, sudden death. 1, 2. And this is it. C and G, thank you so much. Do you want number 1 or number 2? 1, 2. Bottom one. Thank you. And then this is the last one. I'll hold it up. Then we're going to go raid. Becky, that one's coming to you. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Put this on here so there's something on the screen. So we are going to go and raid the next person in line. Where is she? Oh my gosh, DEMO. I took a screenshot of this too, and now I don't remember. It's not Mismatched Vintage. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think I can go out of here real quick and see who it was on here. I took I'm gonna have to minimize my show real quick, you guys, because I need to see my picture of who I was rating, because I'm horrible at this. All right, I am rating into Rebecca H. Rick. Okay, Rebecca H. Rick. I have to type it in because it's not popping up. REBEKA. There we go. I found her, you guys. Put some mushrooms in the chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fabric King. I appreciate you. Put some mushrooms in the chat, or maybe some trains. Put some trains in the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you had fun. I definitely did. I appreciate you. Have a great day.